Howdy, y'all. Dean Stiller here from the official home of unofficial Grateful Dead and music news. Reporting on Mexico. We're having a great time here in Mexico. If you're here, you're already aware of that. If you're not, we wish you were here. This is going to be a good time. Everything's going to be a little bit better. The resort here, good resort. The Moon Palace, really much better than the Barcelo, no doubt about that. It's an improvement. The food's much better. The vibe, I love it. Great. The beach is not so wonderful here, not the greatest beaches, but anyway, all having a blast out there by the pool. So we get this one started. You get Not Fade Away to start things out. Or Not Fade Away, your brain randomly thinks about some shit. So I was wondering during Not Fade Away if they ever finished the playing from the fun run they did there. I'm not sure they ever did that play and reprise from the first play and they started. They might have. I'm wrong on a lot of shit. I get a lot of shit wrong, and that's okay. A lot of times just going from the top of my head, so I'm not looking to jam myself up front to get a fucking photocopy of what they played. It's not my thing. So sometimes just from the top of my head. I didn't take a lot of notes last night, but Noah's having a good time. This is a good time. So Not Fade Away. I got my kids there. Tough with the kids. They're your primary focus and concern. Kids on my shoulders. It's a workout. I'm showing you now that listen, the fat guy's in shape, man. He could dance for a half hour with the child on his shoulders. They were in Giovanni. Thanks for everybody that participated. Ariana on my shoulders. Thanks Anthony. Shalab was participating. He had Giovanni on his shoulders for a while. Brian Levine, thank you. He had Giovanni up there for a while. Giovanni was jamming. The kids were having a blast. Not Fade Away. Hell in a Bucket. You get next. That's just fine. That was a good time. Then they were engaged. They're having themselves a high time. You get Ro Jimmy and Peggio next. There you go. You lost the kids. Thanks, guys. Knocked the kids the fuck out. They were totally disengaged at that point. But children, and it's late, and they've been playing on the beach and the pool and everything else all day long. There's a couple slow songs in a row. A Good Night, Children. So just in case they were wobbly and not quite out, you get Bird Song. That'll knock them the fuck out completely. Now I'm carrying Sleeping Kids back to this little lounge area in the back, which was wonderful. Really, there's a sound reinforced properly all the way in the back. That a lot of very comfy outdoor furniture and hammocks, and so we were lying on the hammocks. The sound was great. Catching the Bird Song. That was it. With the Ramble on Rose, you got before the Bird Song. You got the Ramble on Rose. So that one kind of picked him up and made the walk back to that area a little bit easier. That's the price you pay when you're a parent. You're bringing the kids here. They had a blast. They were having a good time. So then you get the Bird Song after Ramble on Rose. That found some interesting place. I was worried really because no practice in here. They didn't even do, usually the day before they do, the sound check. They get out there and play. It kind of reverberates through the whole resort and stuff. They didn't do that yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure much of a sound. I was having a blast with everybody, so I wasn't paying that much attention. Got a great room. I'm right here by the gates, so I lucked out on that. So Let It Grow's next. My kids and I, we enjoy Birdsong Let It Grow from, and really the sound back there was really good. It was better than a lot of spots as we moved up front. Maybe I'll talk about that in a minute. So then we get to intermission, and intermission is a love fest, and we're all just thrilled looking around us. Holy shit, in the palm trees and lights in the sky, and so food, everything's been paid for in advance, so just food and tacos and all kinds of churros and shit people are eating, and it's all been covered. They don't run drinks around as much as the Barcelo people. The Barcelo staff wanted to get everybody loaded. I mean, those motherfuckers came through there with drinks. I didn't even know how they did it sometimes. All the way to the front row, they were coming with the trays of drinks. It's nonstop. It never ended. I'm grateful that this staff is not working quite as hard because it prevented really people from drinking way too much, which it happens most of the time at an event. People drinking for free all day. Well, not for free, to pay for the shit in advance. But listen, people get very thirsty when they're not paying for their alcohol. They're in the sun. It can anyway. We're having a good time at intermission. Some people said they heard John wasn't, maybe not under the weather, not feeling good, something like that. I give zero fucks. I hope it feels better. I'm sure it's just like a virus or something. I hope it feels better. But listen, Michael Jordan played some great fucking playoff games with the flu, so John's not playing baseball. He got to play guitar, so hope he feels better. I'm sure there's a ton of people catering to his shit wherever he is, and so I hope he feels better. No signs of it, really. I thought he played great. Thought he played pretty good all night. Deal opens up the second set. Every time I start with Deal, in my mind, I start singing Revolution. I think you say you want a revolution, it's the same thing. Sounds like the same song, the way they play it. And Revolution might not be a bad idea. They really don't even got to learn another song. It's just the beginning of Deal, and maybe learn some of the other parts in there, but not much to learn. That'd probably be a cool one. Do that one for an encore, maybe. Anyway, Dark Star follows Deal. Dark Star, love it. Always an opportunity. At this point during Deal, the kids, they just want to go and sleep. And so my wife, bless her heart, she takes the kids back to the room. And so now I can leave that back lounge area. I go up front. I'm running like a dog that got off the porch. My ears are pinned back. I'm running up front. As you're running up front during Deal, there's spots between the entrance and when you get up by the stage where the sound is fucking terrible. There's dead spots there. And there's actually people seizuring out dancing in the worst possible sound spots in the venue. And I guess they thought they had room, or that's where they wanted to be. I'm fine with that. That's where you want to be. But it's amazing to me that there were some pockets where the sound was atrocious. And some people, that's where they wanted to be camped, so bless their hearts too. There's a lot of those motherfuckers are the ones that say, no way, man, that tune was great. So that's a lot of those people. They were seizuring out in the worst sound pocket possible, and that was home to them. So anyway, there's something for everybody. So like I said, I don't hold it against them. I got back up front, reunited with my crew. We were like peaches and herb. We were reunited for the Dark Star. The Dark Star Jam got just the right amount of gooey. Well, maybe not. If you ask me, that Dark Star, it was a little bit, it was like a snack size candy bar. You get your favorite candy bar, whatever that may be, you get a snack size one, right? Like it's a Halloween, they bought a snack size ones. And it's great, it's great, but you could use a little more. That's how I felt about the Dark Star Jam. I thought the jams were great, fun, really stretch your mind, force the thoughts through, have a chance to look inward, maybe examine some things. But the deepest part of it's, they seemed to pass kind of briefly. I would have liked to have seen that explored some more, but no problems with it. The jams were great. So Estimated's up next. Couldn't help but to think about the brother that made the video in that Pitts group. It's about injuries dancing during Estimated Prophet. So follow Oteil. I always followed the bass player. That's always my key to consistent jamming. And no matter how crazy the band gets and the music gets, you don't fall apart. You follow the bass player. Used to be able to follow Mickey's hi-hats too. I wish he had one up there. That was anyway. Estimated was just fine. Thought about that, brother. We were all grooving. Oteil loves throwing the get up, stand up in there. Didn't do it in the beginning, did it towards the end, the jams at the end, but Estimated was a good time. Big Brother next to me, he's getting peeled like an onion. This experience for him is incredible. It's opening him up. He's having one of those times, we've all been there. You just, boy, the veil's just lifted, and this incredible introspection and connection, and it was happening for him. He was letting me know about it. So I didn't mind hearing about it as long as the music wasn't playing, because when the music's playing, you should shut the fuck up. But he was having a ball. I was loving it. I was glad I could share it with him. He was having a good time. Eyes next, the folks behind me, the dude act like because he called Eyes after Estimated he was Kreskin or some shit. Nostradamus is kind of like calling Uncle John's after Playing or Ryder after China. That's not a tremendous accomplishment. You didn't stretch too far, but I'm glad it made you happy that you guessed it. The Eyes jams were great. Eyes jams, furious, really. They were killing it. So there were times in there, if we're being honest, there's times in there things got a little sloppy, but they always seemed to come back together relatively quickly. The jams were intense and insane, and I loved them. So a lot of the jams throughout the night, I was remembering when being there with my kids. I was remember when they were little. When they were little, they always wanted to run on the back of the couch, and it always looked like they were going to fall. As a parent, you're always chasing them, waiting for them to fall, waiting to catch them. If they fall, very rarely do they fall, but it seems like they're gonna all the time. It seems like they're pretty much gonna wipe out always, and they usually keep it together, and that's kind of what Grateful Dead music's like. The Jams and I's Furious, we all making eye contact with each other, all in that musical ecstasy type of experience. Jamming so hard, I'm short enough to begin with to start. I'm dancing a hole in the sand. So as the Jam's getting furious, I'm getting shorter and shorter and shorter. I'm seeing less and less and less of the band as I twist my way into this hole. I was trying to use the verses between to reestablish my ground. I had to incorporate into my dancing, covering up the hole I was making from jamming. That's what it's like when you're playing in the sand. Anyway, we were having a good time doing that, digging a damn hole in the sand, jamming. Got some rain started falling, and the rain, you know, that can be cute for a little bit. It was a perfect kind of rain. It was light, and it was refreshing, and it came at the right time. It was really, if you could order rain, that's when you would have ordered it. And I thought to myself, this shit is cute, but if it continues for a long time or gets any harder, it's going to be less cute. But that didn't happen. It was just like a perfect refresher we got during Drums in Space. Drums, I loved it. Some new samples sounded like cool stuff happening there. During Drums and Mickey stuff. Mickey was getting Medieval on the beam. He was the professor up there, just really feeling it. Great job, Adam, on those clips, and the Team Mickey, some cool sounds coming out of Mickey's equipment. I absolutely loved it. It's the Space, just fine. Out of Space, you get the Wheel. Jeff kind of he started that one up. The Wheel, I sometimes think that one of the ideas is like, hey, if we're all having fun, if we look like we're having, this is the band, like, just look like you're having fun and maybe it'll sound better. I'm not sure if that ever works, but the Wheel was good. A little bit more, we really need a little bit less, so the little bit more is probably, I don't know, that part sounds like a bad fucking Jimmy Buffett song or something. I like Jimmy Buffett, especially when I'm on vacation. But anyway, the Wheel, it did just fine. There were parts it was strong, and there were parts not as strong, but just fine with that. Standing on the Moon is next. Always a great one when you're out there under the stars and the moon, jamming out. Weir was just fine on that. Casey Jones closes your show. That's a good time out there. Casey Jones high-stepping it, kicking sand. We're having a blast, hugging each other, meeting tons of people. This was a good time. For the encore, they come out, you get to wait, and since I wasn't streaming at home, since I was actually at the show here in Mexico, the wait was the most amazing musical creation ever. It really was. John's verse, his voice was as smooth as Aretha Franklin. It was unbelievable. Oteil's verse, like Ray fucking Charles, it was so soulful, I couldn't believe it. The difference between listening on the stream and being there is just remarkable. How did I miss this? Everybody is wonderful on the wait. Jeff's verse, oh my God, it was inspiring. It was like Pavarotti Commenti. He sounded outstanding. He should really sing more songs. They should give a lot of the songs to Jeff, because he just sounds great. He's like Pavarotti. Weir's last verse is really like Celine Dion. He was like Celine Dion. The falsetto was unbelievable. Listen, do you ever have people next to you at a concert that are singing like a motherfucker? And when that shit happens during like the do, it's a shut the fuck up party. We always have that. Everybody wants somebody to shut the fuck up at some point. A lot of you probably want me to shut the fuck up right now. Anyway, during the wait, I was hoping my neighbor would sing over Weir's last verse. I was hoping my neighbor would just start singing over that hideous last stretch of the way. It's terrible. It never gets any less terrible. Whether you're there live or whether you're listening on the stream, it's just as bad. Anyway, there you go. the greatest show in the history of Evers. I don't know about that, but I mean, really, we had quite a time of it here. Absolutely had a blast. Just going off the top of my head with the list, so I might have missed a song or two. I'm not sure as I was rolling here, but this is a good time. Listen, birthday party. My beautiful wife and my good friend Tracy are going to throw a birthday party for me. 3 o'clock, south end of that Nizuc Beach over there. We're going to have a cake and hugs, and we're going to have a piñata. This is going to be a good time. Maybe we'll put the guy with the headband, we'll put his picture on the piñata, maybe. You rascal. And we're going to have a good time. Everybody's invited. You go down there to the south end of the Nizuc Beach at 3 o'clock and have some cake with us, get some hugs. You're all invited. I love you forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow.